The 2024 March Madness bracket is in. Hello, everyone. I'm Autumn Johnson, checking in for March Madness women's basketball, and we are doing our live bracket breakdown. We just got the selection show done and wrapped up, so I've already filled out my bracket from first round to my championship pick. So we're going to walk through it region by region, breaking down what team I have advancing, what upsets we might see, some sleepers and more, even some rematches on the horizon. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with Albany 1. We already knew South Carolina was going to get the number 1 overall seed. They've been dominant from start to finish and undefeated, but we'll get more into them lately. I want to talk about the biggest things in each region. So for my first round, the first upset that I'm seeing on the horizon is FGCU possibly taking down Oklahoma. Look, FGCU is always a 12 seed that always creates havoc. In fact, they're the winningest 12 seed in NCAA history. Coach Smezko, in this offense that he has been able to possess year after year, has been lethal. They have the 3-point game, and they also possess a very top defense in the nation, number 9 ranked so far. So I have Oklahoma going up against them, FGCU getting the best. So that is my first upset that we'll possibly see. In the second round, we got a possible rematch between South Carolina and North Carolina that we saw back in 2022. However, I mentioned South Carolina and that dominance that they have from start to finish of the season. I don't see anyone touching this team. I have them advancing forward, but a great rematch when we look at this one. Sweet 16, Oregon State taking on Notre Dame. And I'm kind of sad that these two are facing each other so early. These are two sleepers that I had in my bracket. But talk about what they've been able to do in their conference. Notre Dame as the ACC champs. Oregon State, they have came in with Donovan Hunter, Reagan Beers, and their balance, their length, their pace that they have, and they've taken the Pac-12 by storm. However, I think Notre Dame and the defense that they possess with Hannah Hidalgo can be scary and lethal when it's all said and done. And they're hot as of late, 8-game winning streak, taking on the ACC championship game. For the Elite 8, we have a rematch possibly from Paris. Let's see South Carolina go up against Notre Dame. As I mentioned, Hannah Hidalgo had a 30-plus game against the Gamecocks. However, it was a 100-71 matchup. I believe South Carolina is just a little bit too much and they'll advance forward. We'll get into my Final Four just later. Let's go ahead and get into this Albany 2 region. Now, for my first round, I have number 10 UNLV upsetting number 7 Creighton. Now, the Mountain West champs, they're a sleeper in this bracket, and you better wake up very soon with someone like Desiree Young on this squad. She is always the player to watch. She's the player of the year for this conference. They had 2 slip-ups during the season, but they won when it mattered the most. Now, second round, we got number 5 Colorado taking on number 4 K-State. And this one, I struggled a little bit. I'm not really sure how this one's going to go down, but I took it all the way to matchup and how these teams compare against each other. I looked at the post play when it's all said and done. Ayoka Lee taking on Aronette Von Lay. And then when I look at the guards and when the game's on the line, I'm betting on Jalen Sherrod. She is a tough player. I know this team has had an up and down season, but the Pac-12 is tough, and I believe they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder. For the Sweet 16, number 1 Iowa versus number 5 Colorado. Possibly we saw this matchup not too long ago, a 2023 rematch in the Sweet 16. Number 3 LSU versus number 2 UCLA. I was also upset about this possible matchup because these two teams could have been in the Final Four. These were some of my Final Four teams. However, I'm taking LSU in this one. When I look at the matchups across the board, yes, UCLA and LSU have elite guard play. And when you look at post play, you got Lauren Betts taking on Angel Reese. But I also wonder how they're going to contain Anissa Morrow when you have that 1-2 tandem. That's going to be tough. Plus, LSU has that experience taking it all the way to the championship game last year as a 3 seed. We're going to see that again, and we'll see another championship rematch possibly between Iowa and LSU. I love how Iowa is playing as of late. I know I'm going to catch some heat in the chat already, and I see you guys chatting already. But I look at the matchup on this one, and a big factor in last year's championship game was Monica Sonano and also McKenna Warnock. They're absent, and now you come in with an LSU that's revamped, reloaded. Still Angel Reese, you bring in Anissa Morrow. I think the down-low battle will be a lot for Iowa, so I have LSU advancing forward. Let's keep on moving. Portland 3, first-round matchup. I have number 11 Auburn versus number 6 Syracuse. Now, Deasia Fair, she is pro-ready, and she is a guard that is number 5 in the all-time scoring list when it comes to the NCAA. Also, Coach Leggett is also very she's taken this team to new heights. But I feel like this tough team, Auburn, who took down LSU earlier this season, they might have that edge when you look at how they've been able to play as of late in a tough conference. And I think they're going to give Auburn some difficulty, or Syracuse some difficulties when it's all said and done. And I'm really excited to see Honesty Gray Scott be an X factor in this matchup when it comes down to it. But that could be up in the air, just a possible upset that I'm seeing as of late. Second round, Virginia Tech makes a run. I have them coming all the way up to the Sweet 16, even though I'm not sure about Elizabeth Kitley's status. If she is, they could go further. But I think about the status and how she creates a great tandem with Georgia Amore. I think she's very key in this matchup. She left in the third quarter in that loss versus Virginia, and this team fell early in the ACC tournament. Obviously, her impact is going to be needed in this matchup. Sweet 16, we have a possible Elite 8 rematch. And we saw Cody McMahon go off last season, 32 points versus UConn. I think UConn is a tough team led by Paige Beckers and also Aaliyah Edwards. I just worry about the depth as they move forward, going up against a team in Ohio State who can press you like it's nothing. They're suffocating. And also, I just feel like Cody McMahon, the way she's been playing as of late, is going to be needed. Ohio State, yes, they fell early in the Big Ten tournament, but I think they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. Now, I mentioned that press that they're going to go up against, trying to shut down Southern California. Juju Watkins, Mackenzie Forbes has been incredible as of late. I just wonder if that wears down as they try to go up against this Ohio State press. I have them advancing into the Final Four. We'll get into South Carolina, LSU, and Ohio State later. So we got to break down the last region. No upsets in Portland for my first round. However, in the second round, I have a possible upset alert when number 6 Tennessee takes on number 3 NC State. And the reason for that, I look at how long Tennessee has been, or how long Tennessee is, the length they possess, and how they play through Rakia Jackson, and how they've been playing as of late. They had to play South Carolina 3 times. So I'm taking that into consideration because every single time they have battled against the number 1 team in the country. They held them by single digits in those last 2 matchups, only lost by 11 in the first time they met up with them. I have them going all the way up to Stanford, who, when I look at Stanford, I look at the matchups. Once again, this is how I did my bracket. I just try to match up each team going up against each other. The post play is balanced when you look at Cam Brink and Kiki Iriafen and Tamari Key taking on Rakia Jackson. But I think it comes down to the guard play, and the X factor in this one will possibly be Jewel Spear when it's all said and done. So I have Tennessee going up against Texas, but it ends there because that Texas defense is suffocating. Vic Schaefer is due for a Final Four. So we'll see if he can get his team there, but they're equipped, they're ready, and Madison Booker is one of the toughest freshmen out. We'll see if they can get the job done, but just to deal with adversity and be a number 1 seed is incredible to see this Texas team have that Texas fight. All right, Final Four, South Carolina, LSU, Ohio State, and Texas. I have South Carolina taking down Texas. As I mentioned, that separation, I feel like South Carolina is tough to guard. When you look at the depth, Dawn Staley can take in her starting 5, have them dominate, and then rest them and take in a new starting 5 and put them in, and they won't skip a beat. So the endless depth is key for this team. When you go up against Texas and their elevated offense also that South Carolina possesses, is going to be crucial in this matchup when going up against a tough defensive assignment in Texas. When you look at LSU and Ohio State, I look up the matchup once again when you look at the guard play. Yes, it is all equal and balanced, but when I look down low, I just know Angel Reese is ready to go to work with Anissa Morrow, and I wonder how Ohio State's post play is going to play into this one. When I know Rebecca Mikolashikova is a stretch player, she's going to try to be out on the perimeter more and try to bang down low with Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow. So I wonder if the 1-2 tandem might be too much. So we'll see how this plays out. In LSU, South Carolina, we've seen it in the SEC championship game. They battled versus each other and hung close. But overall, I have South Carolina winning it all. And this team has went 32-0. They were the SEC champs, 7 ranked wins. They passed all of their non-conference matchups by flying colors. They beat LSU twice. They beat Utah, UConn, UNC, Maryland, and Notre Dame. These are all teams who have high seeds in this bracket, and they have been able to come in and just kind of show the entire world that, hey, there's a separation when it comes to our elevated offense that we've been able to come in with. They're number 4 in offense right now. This year, they have 7 different players averaging 8 or more points. They're 40% from deep. And last year, they only had 4 different players do that and only shooting 31%. So I think that's going to be the X factor when you see it. I see a lot of love in the chat for these sleepers and a lot of debate as well. I love to see it. But that is my bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and sign and stamp it. We'll see how it plays out. And make sure you guys tune in. These games are starting very soon. We'll see the first 4 start on the 20th. And that will start with these matchups. And we'll see how it goes. But if you guys follow us on social media, go ahead and look at our bracket tips so you can figure out what to go with when you're trying to decide on these picks. We have a lot of history wrapped into it. And make sure you continue to follow us along the way. We'll have upset interviews and more. That's a wrap. I'm Autumn Johnson. Thank you for tuning in.